Jesuit art, the motivation, excitement, and the education. Jesuit art is very much an international phenomenon. Art, artists, ideas, and the Jesuits themselves moved across borders with remarkable frequency. Ignatius' apostolic vision for the society encompassed the entire globe. The Jesuits were truly among the first Catholic groups to articulate a coherent worldview. Perhaps this universalism is the key to their appeal. Few religious orders were enthusiastic as the Jesuits about the fine arts. From the earliest days of the society, art was treated as a priority, both in Europe and on the worldwide missions. Ignatius of Loyola himself made great use of images in his personal meditations. St. Francis Xavier also contributed to the worldwide spread of Catholic devotional images. He set out on his first mission in 1542 with a suitcase full of sacred pictures, taking advantage of the power of images to overcome his linguistic deficiencies. Given the amount of attention paid to images by these early Jesuit leaders, not to mention the extensive Jesuit artistic contribution to late Renaissance and Baroque Italy, the Jesuits have been credited or blamed with creating their own style. The Jesuits envisioned arts as the visual equivalent to sacred oratory. The Jesuits realized that, like preaching, art had an extraordinary ability to delight, to teach, and to move. By harnessing art's pictorial realism, expressive power, and emotive capabilities, the Jesuits felt that they could move non-Christians to abandon their faiths for Christianity and lead Christians at home to a more pious life. Meditation, living in the moment through art. For example, John David's Veridicus Christianus. Its frontispiece is a delightful pun on the imitation of Christ, and thus it illustrates the latter role of art. A group of Christians are gathered around a figure of Christ on Golgotha, which serves as their model. Each Christian perched before an easel paints his own version of what he sees, rightly or wrongly. Going back to Ignatius, the Jesuits also stressed an image's potential for meditation, an emphasis deriving from the spiritual exercises, which exhorted its followers to meditate by forming mental images with the senses, or composition of place. Art, where the mind and memory converge. This intellectual exercise was as important for the spiritual formation of the Jesuits themselves as it was for their congregations. Images also played a very important role for memory by fixing the often very complex ideas and events of Christianity in the mind. In accordance with both classical and Renaissance theory, the Jesuits taught adults and children alike to use pictures to store and retrieve information. This mnemonic function is brought out most clearly in Nadal's Gospel, whose images are itemized with letters keyed to captions below. Art, enjoying the celebration. Finally, the Jesuits used art to celebrate themselves. Beginning around the time of the 1609 beatification of St. Ignatius, the Jesuits commissioned artists to celebrate the lives of St. Ignatius and St. Francis Xavier in art. Celebration is at the heart of the Jesuit education mission to excite, to educate, and to motivate the individual to spiritually elevate and celebrate with the eternal Heavenly Father.